Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome to a brand new episode of Taboo Table Talk. I'm your host, Krish Mohan, and these are your pre show announcements. I'm very excited about some of these live virtual shows that I'm going to be doing in the next few weeks. I'm going to be sticking to more virtual shows for the moment as cases are surging with Omicron and all that sort of stuff. So I think doing some live shows in January and February are probably going to be rather sparse, if any. Only to ensure that I don't get anybody sick, and vice versa. I don't want to get sick, and if I do get sick, I don't want to get anybody else sick. So I think I'm probably going to um, postpone any sort of live performance to after February, just till things calm down. So, but there are a bunch of virtual show options for you guys to grab tickets to and come hang out with me. January 20th, I'm going to be doing a live Forkful of Noodles recording. So if you want to be part of the live virtual audience via Zoom, for January 20th. Grab your tickets right now. That's going to be a Forkful of Noodles recording, and we're going to be talking about billionaires and how they evade taxes and whether we need billionaires in our society or not. So it's going to be January 20th. On January 27th, I'm very excited to be hosting a fundraiser over Zoom virtually for the Pittsburgh DSA. They're raising funds for their Feed the Hood program. This is a program that is partnering with Feed the Hood to ensure that low income communities and food deserts in Pittsburgh are able to get access to good food, because that's something that I think is really really important. It's something, it's an issue that I care about a lot, is making sure people have good food. Food is a human right, nutrition is a human right. A lot of these people go, oh well, there's a McDonald's in this area, so it's not really a food desert. No, because there's a McDonald's in the area is one of the reasons why this place is considered a food desert, right? So we're trying to eliminate that sort of stuff, and the Pittsburgh DSA is working alongside with mutual aids that are trying to do that. So if you want to help that program, grab tickets to January 27th's fundraiser for the Pittsburgh DSA. 100% of the ticket sales are going to help this program. So if you're in Pittsburgh, even if you're not in Pittsburgh, and you believe that good food is something that people should have access to, that is a human right, then you should get tickets to come out to see the show. We got a great crew of comedians and musicians on that program. And then on February 3rd, I am going to be doing a virtual stand up comedy show of my new show, Citizen Revolution. Um, the way I'm approaching stand up is going to change. And I'll kind of talk about a little bit more about that at the show, and probably later in this podcast as well. But I want to do the show, run the show one more time for you folks, especially the folks that we're looking forward to seeing it in December virtually, and looking forward to seeing me perform live in your city. I was not able to do that because of the Delta variant. And now and now we're putting things on pause because of the Omicron variant there. And I still want people to be able to check out the show. So I'm doing it virtually. February 3rd, I will be doing my stand-up comedy hour, Citizen Revolution. So if you want to see that, grab tickets to that as well. Uh and then and all these tickets are available on my website, krishmohanhaha.com. It's KRISHMOHANHAHA.com. While you're there, you can grab my stand-up comedy albums on my website. A lot of them are available for free on my website. You can listen or download it for free. You can also become a sustaining member or make a one-time donation on my site. And you can check out past episodes of this show, Forkful of Noodles, the Road Reflections, the live stream, so on and so forth. There's a lot of stuff you can do, but particularly, if you're interested in seeing some live performance over Zoom, then go to my website and grab those tickets. Again, those dates are January 20th, Forkful of Noodles recording. We're going to be talking about billionaires. Uh, January 27th, hosting a fundraiser for the Pittsburgh DSA. And then February 3rd, doing a virtual stand-up comedy show. So I hope to see you guys there. I hope that we can hang out a little bit in some way, shape, or form in these trying and troubling times. It's up to us on the ground floor to help each other out. So I hope to see you guys at these shows. And without any further ado, let's dive into the first episode of 2022. Enjoy it, everybody. Hello, everybody. Welcome to a brand new episode of Taboo Table Talk. I'm your host, Krish Mohan. It is the first episode of 2022, and I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty excited to introduce our guest for the first episode of 2022. A returning guest, a favorite of mine, and I hope a favorite of yours. We have Jett. Jett is back on the podcast. Jesse just put out a brand new spoken word album called The Coming of Spring. And boy, howdy, do we all want spring to come, huh? Especially after the spurt of winter storms that we've seen throughout the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast here. Definitely would love to see some spring colors, but that's not the way seasons work. So we wait for spring, and while you're waiting for spring, why not grab Jesse Jett's new spoken word album, The Coming of Spring, from his Bandcamp, jessejett.bandcamp.com. And I know you're sitting there going, well, Krish, maybe this is the first time we're hearing who Jesse Jett is. We haven't even heard what he can do. We don't even know if his lyrics are going to connect with our hearts. Well, great. Then I think you're at the right podcast. Then I think you're right. You're exactly where you need to be, because you're about to get a whole earful of Jesse Jett. I like it. I love hanging out with Jesse. But things get busy, and last year turned into chaos pretty quickly for me. A lot of personal stuff. I talked about that in the end of year review podcast that I did. If you haven't checked that out, I recommend that you do. But it was really great to sit and just have this conversation. And I think whether we recorded it or not, that would have been a conversation that we needed to have. It's always just great to hang out and chat with Jesse, and Jesse's also a big favorite on the why am I forgetting, Facts on the Ground podcast. Holy shit, I had a total brain fart there for a moment. He's a regular on the Facts on the Ground podcast, where he is known to go on with Misty, who's another guest that's been on this podcast, and just perform new material. I think that's really, really cool that Misty kind of has that platform available for folks like Jesse, folks like even myself, just to have something, have like some kind of a platform for us to just try out new material and see how it feels, because that's a lot of the ways artists kind of figure this shit out. Is we gotta say it out loud and see how it sounds and see what the reaction is, see how we feel about it, and then build from there. So Jesse's a regular there too, and this was just a really, really fun chat, and I can't think of a better way to kick off the new year with a whole cast of new podcasts that I'm super excited to share. I have some really awesome guests some returning guests, some new guests that I'm particularly very excited about. Coming on the podcast and kind of talking about it. So, and also, I'm sure you can hear my voice is a little congested. I'm a little stuffy, a little, my nose is a little congested. Everything else is pretty much fine. Yeah, it's just dealing with the weather changes and the temperature changes. And we're working on doing some renovations around the house. So, making the house feel a lot more healthy. That's something that we're working on as well. But this is like the first winter in this house, so we're still learning the ins and outs of how things react to the cold, including myself. You guys probably know that I've been dealing with up and down health issues, particularly with sinuses and migraines over the last few months, and they're getting better, but the temperature changes and all that kind of crap don't really help. So the stuffiness in my voice is because of that. And but otherwise I'm doing pretty good. I'm feel pretty good. I'm in some decent health. And I'm working on improving my health, like all that sort of stuff. So that's why if you hear me being stuffy, it's not because I'm particularly sick. It's just particularly because my sinuses have no idea what to do with what's happening with the climate. But remember, kids, climate change isn't real. Keep buying fossil fuels. Let's keep burning a hole in the atmosphere. Let's keep that fracking project going. Right? That's what. If you're wondering why you should give a shit about climate change on an individual level, it's going to affect your health, and it's going to affect your health the way that it's affecting my health. You might start getting migraines, more sinus infections, your allergies will start going haywire. That's why we should give a shit about climate change, folks. On a personal level. Like it's not just some sort of ethereal fucking social issue that we don't have to care about because it's too large. No, this hits you right at home. Literally right at home. So anyway, we're not here to listen to me bullshit and complain about how fucking climate change affects your health and how it's tied into the healthcare industry. We'll deal with that later. I'm sure I will continually complain about this particular issue time and time again. We'll get back to it. Don't you worry. We will get back to this problem. But right now, we're gonna kick off the podcast, the 2022 series of podcasts with a really wonderful guest, a good friend of mine, Mr. Jett. So please enjoy Jett.
Gotta get one of my samples queued up. Which I gotta get. I still have to cut out that kid. I can't remember his name that was doing that debate with Nico, and he was like, "If you don't trust the CIA, who do you trust?" And I was like, "Mine, using it, taking it." It's so good.
Oh man,
to say that with such a straight face, like just dead serious, like, "Oh, this kid, this is fantastic."
That's such a weird mindset to fucking.
Right. And there was such a great hint of desperation. Like, if you don't trust the CIA, who do you trust? There was a little bit of fear there. And I guess there should be.
So, like anybody else,
this is good to go.
My cat, you could trust my cat.
Why is there an echo on that, motherfucker?
Oh, is that not? I thought that was part of the. Oh, it might be from. I wonder if it's because I'm on.
Mute that. Oh, it might be. Okay. Which is good. That's good. I was like, let me double check. Let me just hear that one more time. Because there's no echo on it. Okay, yeah, no, it's fine.
I'll just mute.
And let me mute this. Day bow. Okay. All right, and we're good to go.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right. I will let you. I don't. If you want to introduce the song, you can. If not, you
I know
don't need.
maybe it'd be fun to, because this one, since there's actually something to talk about, like afterwards, we can
Yeah.
kind of chat about this. It gives us something to go right into. So
Cool. Now, all right. I'm gonna mute my stuff so I don't.
okay, yeah, I'm ready when you are. Oh, you're still muted. Sorry.
So I'm trying to figure out how to like have it be just you, but I don't. Oh, there it is. Cool. All right.
Oh, hey.
All right. All right. You're ready to go. You
I am. Yeah.
you kick it off whenever you're
Okay.
ready.
Cool. It looks to me as though you learned to love your prison. I guess you'd say you made it your own. Who knew that freedom's such a difficult decision? I bet you finally feel like you're home. Home. Right in the center where the halves meet. You were proud of incremental half speeds. See, you were getting down in the AOC dance line, hands tied, nodding to the backbeat. And your Secret Service dive in front of any representative alive, being asked for the very bare minimum. And you'll turn into that same kind of hard right villain you detested, should we mention they could ever muster maximum. Because liberal denial's such a lofty ataraxia, where all your morals take a backseat, not up in the cab, but in hidden panels made by federal human traffickers. So if you trust the autopilot, then you're just a sleeping passenger, passionately accepting that it isn't us the bastards serve, making peace with all the evil walking on this rancid earth, seeking unity with those who bound your hands at birth, glancing up at fascists on a bloody dais, thinking they just need a push. Not a holy man, but I'm praying for a burning bush. Yeah, I know you'd love to look away, but love, you need to look. Honey, there are many massacres this country manufactured that will never make the books. Now here's your fucking book. It looks to me as though you learned to love your prison. I guess you'd say you made it your own. Who knew that freedom's such a difficult decision? I bet you certainly feel like you're home. Home on the range of excuses, justify some fracking, water down pollution, paint a fresh coat of bipartisan charm over backroom collusion. Your consent is being manufactured by illusions, marketing executives in federal seclusion, working day and night to keep you just the side of lucid, and to beat down for calling out abuses. So fuck all these progressives who can speak on revolution once they've emptied all your powder out and spit on all your fuses. I prefer to judge a leader not by quality of tweets, but the six-figure book deals she chooses. Donors he betrays, and donors he would rather take a bullet before he refuses. Slogans he reuses, buzzwords he produces, and he spews like mucus. Well, two can play at that. So here's the inner dialogue of every time I snap, and it's been fine-tuned to ruthless. It's screaming politics are useless. Just a bunch of loose lips tweeting cute shit, power suits, taxpayer booze trips. and bunkers at the ready when the shoe flips. When there will be no news clips, there will just be. Looks to me as though you learned to love your prison. I bet you'd say you say that your own. Who knew that freedom's such a difficult decision? I bet you finally feel like you're home. Home.
Yay!
Oh, hey, Krish, what are you doing here? Oh my God,
Oh,
how did you get in my room?
oh, I just snuck in. I just snuck in.
How you doing?
I was very quiet. That was great.
Thank
That
you.
was awesome.
Thank you.
I think my favorite line is, "I'm not a religious man, but I want a burning bush."
Praying for Bernie Bush.
Praying for a burning bush. That's
And that's not Corey, by the way. That's a a junior or a Jeb. We'll take what we can get.
or a Papa or a Prescott. If you want to go real old school,
That's true.
how far back the Bush line you want to go?
Yeah, that's true. Let's do the
For that
do it.
line to be
Whole thing.
applicable.
Now I need to do a song called like Bush Bonfire or something.
That was
So
awesome,
yeah,
man.
for full props, that's featuring Franco and Corey Bush. Corey Bush drowning Franco out at the Capitol eviction sleepover
Oh,
bonanza.
okay.
Slumber Party 2021.
When they was that when Franco was trying to ask a question and
Yeah,
steamrolled
and
over.
AOC is just like, we'll get there. We'll figure out, people that are getting evicted now and people that are facing eviction. We'll get to them. But in the meantime, platitude. And it was such
Yeah.
a Soylent Green kind of moment where he's saying, people still owe money. What about people getting evicted? And Corey Bush is like, we're going to turn on some music. Who wants music? And everyone's like, let's fucking dance. And everyone just starts losing their shit. And he's just shouted down, and drowned out. And I reached out to him. I was like, can I please sample that? Because I desperately, I've got to use that. And yeah, he was gracious enough to say yes. So
It was such a weird I had a rather unpopular opinion about that whole thing where the following the second they left, the second that AOC and Corey Bush left,
mhm.
the protesters that were left were all attacked by the cops.
Yeah,
All the
exactly.
protection
Yep.
of having, I mean,
Yep.
and it was, to me, it was like, well, here's the thing, man. If you want to see less violence at protests, then politicians should be on the front lines, because the cops are not going to shoot the politicians, and the
Yeah.
cops are the ones that start the violence in the first place.
Yeah.
But what that really signified to me is a protest. How many organizations do we know that are fighting for unhoused people to be housed, right? For
Mhm.
a housing for all kind of
Mhm.
idea. But we don't really listen. Those people are
Mhm.
considered, they're on the FBI terror watch list. But
Yeah.
so really, what that signaled to me was, this is saying that unless a politician gets behind an idea, then the idea is not really valid.
Yep.
Like, if we're not at the Black Lives Matter protest, and the Black Lives
Mhm.
Matter protest is not really valid, so the violence that
Mhm.
gets, perpetrated on them is completely justified.
Yeah.
And it was really this unpopular idea where people from all over the place came out of the woodwork to get mad at me.
Yeah.
And I was like, we can disagree, but you guys are this is more about, I'm not, propping up your favorite politician,
Mhm.
which,
Yeah.
you shouldn't have a favorite politician.
Exactly.
What a fucking weird
Yeah.
thing to have,
I know. Well, and that was the whole what prompted that song was that it it'd be different if you were sticking up for someone that had given us some results and not just saying what we want to hear when we need to hear it. which was great before so many people were so desperate. And now it's just such a slap in the face. And for us to be told that we're being ungrateful because we won't just, spare them any difficult questions while they're having what's basically a photo op, to just be like, here they are sticking up for that issue that they told you they cared about 6 years ago. Like, remember, we haven't forgotten. We see you, we hear you, and then they disappear for a while. And then Corey Bush got a 6-figure book deal a couple weeks later, hence the line in there, the 6-figure book deal.
I was wondering.
I was
Yeah,
like, oof,
yeah.
yeah,
It's I think that was the moment that I really started pulling back, and
yeah,
every time somebody would be like, "Oh, this politician did so and so," I'm just like, "God damn, I
hmm,
just don't have time to get involved."
yeah,
Like there's bigger things at play, but that's what people focus on,
exactly.
and that's what and it's a thing that I constantly am like, well, how do I get like what can I say? Because I can go on stage. Honestly, the thing that I get nervous about on stage isn't even talking about socialism. It's talking of like if I bring up a particular politician,
Hmm.
and if I'm critical of that.
Exactly, exactly. And that's what's interesting to me too is, I a couple months ago, there's a local open mic that is pretty popular, and I was like, you know what, it'd be interesting to go there and play some of my political stuff and just like spring it
Yeah.
on a random crowd. And I was really overwhelmed by how many people were absolutely on board with what I was saying. And like some of the people, including those that I was like, oh, that's the guy that's going to want to come up and like have words with me
Mm,
afterwards. And he would come up and shake my hand and be like, man, I was really impressed. And like I was like, okay, let's talk, let's get going. And you can talk with all kinds of people. And if you're staying on our struggle on working class people and
mhm.
how much we're getting shafted, you're doing great. As soon as you mention a party or a politician, all of a sudden they'll get defensive and start having this knee-jerk reaction to stick up for someone. It's like, dude, the only thing in this relationship is that you pay them a very nice salary and they do dick for you. Like, that's literally, there's just no reciprocation here. Like, I mean, honestly,
That's that's it. But so many people have tied their identity not even to a party. Man, and this is I was talking about this on a different podcast the other day, and just having their identity like the thought of having someone's like entire identity wrapped around a political party is
yeah.
so fucking sad to me. And then on top of that, your identity is not just tied to a party, but one politician or one
Hmm.
political figure is like
Yeah.
even like it breaks my heart more than anything of like,
Hmm.
oh man, you're so much more than Andrew Yang. Like
Right. Especially now, like I saw a Warren sticker on a car today. I'm like,
still,
still.
yeah. Man, I've seen honest to God Obama stickers
Yeah.
on cars.
I saw now one of the worst. Last time I was in Florida, I saw there was a Warren sticker, there was a Buttigieg sticker, and there was an All Dogs Matter with a paw
Guys.
print.
Ugh.
Oh my god!
Who is
Yep.
that for? Who
To
like what
them
is the struggle in
to
that
feel superior.
situation? Or just is
uh,
it fucking
yeah.
are you pro Pitbull? Is that the I don't like what is that for?
Yeah.
It just seems so
Like it
arbitrary.
just exactly, and to be like, okay, so there's people are suffering under like a whole generations of systemic racism and police violence, and they're standing up and fighting for their dignity and getting killed over it. Wouldn't it be funny if I parodied that so that people will quit picking on my damn dog breeds? Like it's the most it's just the goofiest shit. I'm sorry. To have that idea and make it like a Facebook meme is bad enough. To put it on your fucking car,
Right, yeah,
and
right? It's like
every day you go get in your car and you see that and like still proud of that decision to make
still
to put
that's
that
that's
sticker.
still me.
Stand by it. I'm like, god
That's
damn.
still me. Like that person every day. They go out and they see that sticker
Yep.
and they're like, All dogs matter.
Mhm,
Oh man,
mhm.
so good, so
Yeah.
good. And right
Like,
before
dude,
they get into that car, it's like they feel real good about themselves.
my wife, and this is she does this in general, but she had some cool stickers on her car once, and then after like 6 months, she was like, you know what, change it up. Took them off, got some new ones, put some new ones on, and like they were still good, but she was just like, time for a refresher, you know. And this was well after the election, and here's a Warren sticker still defiantly like. I couldn't be sure, but it looks like they'd applied some sort of clear lacquer so that it would resist sun fade. It was sturdy still. It was, or they have a stock and they just keep slapping a new one on once a month to make sure it's still proud and strong. Yeah.
Oh, that's what I feel like the Obama people do. Like they just ordered all of them
Hmm.
from their local,
Yeah.
Obama
Dude,
chapter.
oh my
I
gosh.
don't know. I don't know how that works.
I
But
was in
like
a I
they
was in a
bought all
Barnes
of
and
them.
Noble yesterday. They have like a whole Obama section. I was like looking at like political stuff, and then there's world history, and literally there's like here's the little part on like civil rights, here's the little half a Great Depression shelf, and then it's like the Obama years. It's like everything from his pajamas for the first 4 years, his favorite takeout, just all it's so absurd. It's just
I think you have a line in the coming of spring where you say that we call out Obama whenever we need a protest to be stopped.
oh yeah.
Is that but it's
Yeah.
that's kind of
Yeah, he's a ruling class's fixer when we need a revolution conquered.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like
Yep.
that's exactly what happened
Yeah,
numerous
that
times.
he's the guy that if he got you in a room long enough, you'd walk out. You'd be like, I mean, he makes a lot of sense. We need to call this off. His
Yep.
revolution's over. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you heard the
I
man speak? Jesus Christ.
oh, I mean, god damn. It's like him and H. John
Yep.
Benjamin if Obama got into voice acting, like could you imagine the propaganda they could peddle?
Right.
I'm just giving them ideas. Guys,
Very,
listen,
very.
if this
I can't do an
happens,
Obama, but if you can do an Obama, we can do a whole thing here.
I can't do Obama. I
Oh
can
my
do
God, Barry.
we gotta look at Syria and we're gonna do our best. That's my best Obama that I can do. I
Oh
know
my God, Barack. It's my H. John Benjamin.
dude, if they teamed up, I mean, I don't know if H. John Benjamin's a
Powerhouse.
neoliberal or not. I just think he might just be a rich person. That hasn't read Das Kapital. I feel like that's where H. John
It seems
Benjamin.
like the rule of thumb seems to be, do I admire this celebrity? Okay, and now I'm gonna look into their politics, and it's just trash. It's just like, oh man, I shouldn't have done it, but I do it all the time.
There
Like,
are way too many Star Trek actors that are just real staunch capitalists.
yep, yep. Imagine that. I mean, to be fair, if your continued revenue stream is based off of like
The popular
merchandising, being able to just keep rolling, I mean, that's going to be one of the first things to go is
yeah,
convention tchotchkes and stuff like that. That's going to be
the
rough.
popularization of space communism is your revenue. It's just fuck.
Ah,
It's
God,
so
that's great.
it's like it's pretty upsetting to think about. But that's the thing is like that's one of those you got to separate the art from the artist thing
Yeah,
because
yeah. Sometimes, yeah, I'm like, otherwise there'd be so little I could enjoy. You
we would
know.
all only like Susan Sarandon and sometimes Mark
Yep.
Wahlberg.
Yep. Like I don't remember what John Cusack blocked me over, but John Cusack blocked me pretty early on in my Twitter experience. That one hurt because I still High Fidelity is like maybe my favorite film, but what are you
Great
gonna
movie.
do? You know,
Great movie.
like I love JPEG Mafia beyond words. The guy's music is phenomenal, and his politics are like just devastating shots in all directions, as it should be. And I remember him saying something once on Twitter about like, man, if you think Biden's as bad as Trump or worse, then you must have only started paying attention to politics in the last year. And I was like, no, not you too. Oh God, that hurt.
There are some, yeah, like there are some that when you figure out their politics, you're like,
Mm-hmm. Like, damn,
fuck.
damn.
Even Run the
Yep.
Jewels, like Killer Mike,
I know.
as much as
Yep.
and that was one of those things where I was like, all right, it's difficult to hear him talk about investing in stocks and playing Wall Street and the
Hmm.
stock market and bolstering all of that,
Hmm.
and then listening to a Run the Jewels record where he's essentially talking about destroying capitalism.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's like,
And
I
I get.
want that
Sorry.
killer Mike. No,
Yeah.
I was just like,
Yeah.
that's it. That's who I want.
Yeah.
Where's
And
that
I
guy?
get there's a certain point you have to kind of, tone down what you say if you're getting to have a big platform, which is again part of the reason that you can know like I'm keeping myself honest because if I mean nobody that has any ridiculous amount of money is trying to help my stuff get heard. That's not really
Right.
conducive to their wealth as it shouldn't be. So if suddenly you see me on like some massive like oh Jesse's doing a morning half hour on MSNBC, then like
Oh
and
no,
it's
Jesse's suffering a
yeah,
massive stroke.
me and Lin Manuel Miranda teamed up. What's funny is I never watched Hamilton. I saw enough to go like oh Christ I need to avoid this like the plague. And one night I went out to get some takeout and I'm pulling back in. And as I pull into the driveway, I glance into the living room window and I see Hamilton on the TV. I'm like, oh, fuck, my wife started watching it. And I'm like preparing myself to have to go in and talk her down. And by the time I got out of the car with the food and walked in, she was watching something else. I was like, oh, I thought you were watching Hamilton. Yeah, she was like, it was ass. I couldn't do that. That's my girl. Oh, there we go.
But it's also wrong. It's also, like,
Exactly.
factually wrong
Yeah.
on a lot of different levels.
Well, and
So,
I
like,
don't remember the name of the person, unfortunately, but someone had their own play about him shopping that idea around and everyone telling him he shouldn't do it and him doing it anyway. It's its own play about people being like, don't do that. That's nope. And he
oh,
went for it.
man.
So yeah.
But that's the it's so hard. Like, I don't know if you have the same problem that I do, but, like, there are a lot of pieces of pop culture and media that I watch, and it's really, really hard not to pick out just a little bit of, the ideology that gets thrown in there.
For sure.
Uh, like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was
especially
what the song Red Pilled,
yeah.
just like seeing like, oh, there's propaganda, there's extra product placement, there's a weird little, just all that shit. And it's like, there are times I wish I could just turn that off and enjoy something at like face value and I'll be doing good for a while. And then something happens. I'm like, come on. It's oh, we were doing so good. And then, no, there's some, yeah,
I think
it
the
hurts.
most recent Spider-Man movie was the first one that I watched where I was like, okay, I'm not like picking up on,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like, it's just this movie is a character development movie
Yeah.
about
Yep.
my favorite comic book character of all time.
Yeah.
But that's the first one in, I don't know, Jesus, like 10 years. Like, every time I've watched something, I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh, fucking what
Yep.
is,"
I
like
know. Now, I had the opposite of that, which is a blessing and very rare. There was a show that I didn't know existed until after it was canceled. It was on what TBS, called Wrecked, and it was
Oh,
kind of a almost direct parody of Lost for a while, of like plane crash survivors on an island, mysterious shit starts happening, but very absurdist comedy. It had Reese Darby, who was the manager on
oh,
Flight of the Concords, who's phenomenal.
amazing.
And skinny, blue-eyed kid from Whitest Kids You Know, whose name escapes me. Um,
Trevor
anyway,
something.
yeah, no, not the one that passed. That was Trevor Noah, R.I.P.
Oh, was it not? No, it's not Trevor
The
Noah. Oh my god,
the
don't break that news.
no, the one
Trevor something.
that always played the mom. It was
Oh,
the skinny, tall, skinny kid that was always the mom. Anyways, fantastic cast, really, really funny show. And there's a point, like second season, it was only I think 2 seasons, where they're talking about Democrats and Republicans, and one of the guys is like, "Well, I don't vote," and they're like, "What? What do you mean you don't vote?" And he was like, I don't. I mean, what's the point? We live in an oligarchy. You know, we're owned no matter who we vote for. And everyone turns on him and starts getting all pissed. He's like, I'm right. You know, I'm right. And I like had to put my shit down and rewind it and watch it again. I was just like, oh God, that you never get to have that happen to you. Are you serious? It's like, I love this show like a million times more now.
And
And
in
then they're
comedic
hunted for sport by
accuracy,
the wealthy. It's just, it's great. It's really relatable themes, you know? But,
and in
yeah.
comedic accuracy, it's everybody turns on him when he reveals the truth,
Exactly.
right?
Yep.
It's
Yep. Yeah, I love it. Everyone gets all pissed, and yeah, he was like, I mean, what's the point? We live in an oligarchy. Like, this is so good.
I I don't know if this is a great idea or not, but I think there should be a boycott on nobody should vote in 2024.
I'm eating my ballot. I'm gonna chew on it for a while. I'm gonna spit it in the trash. Like, I'm gonna maybe even dress up as a cow. I might do a whole performance art
Because
thing where I get a cow costume and just sit there and just like, and then just and then finish. And then we zoom in and it says Kanye West written. Scene. Sorry, Finn.
the greatest election movie of all time. But it is. It's not. You know. It's just that's what I.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, when you got your citizenship, are you excited to vote? And I was like, for what?
Yep.
Most of the voting
You know
I've
what's
done is on BuzzFeed.
what's interesting is that like there's whatever decent percentage of people every year that write in Mickey Mouse and Jesus Christ, and no one goes after those people. No one tries to like go to like Disney fan groups and start shaming those people. Are kind of you Mickey voters gonna try to ruin this
Well,
election for Hillary in 2024?
I think all the Mickey votes go to the Democrats because Mickey is a liberal cuck,
Yeah, no, for sure.
Hollywood liberal cuck, and then the Jesus is
Big blue
obviously going
check
to.
energy off of Mickey.
Oh yeah, yeah. And then all of the Jesus votes obviously go to the Republican candidate because
God, I'm just imagining the
I
like
mean,
the hyper woke Mickey Mouse Twitter account, and it hurts me. I'm teaming up with Raytheon to celebrate diversity.
please help me welcome the first Latino CIA director.
Oh God, you're gonna make me do a spit take all over the carpet. Oh, good God. Oh, and we're so close to it. I mean, God, the couple Sesame Street cameos recently, that hurt. That was them really just taking your childhood and just wringing its neck right in front of you.
Wait, what happened with the Sesame Street? Why Sesame Street?
Oh God, well, what didn't they? There was a I'll have to. Hang on, I'll find them later and send them to you because Sesame
Okay.
Street had a couple insidious like.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Oh man, not the
yeah,
puppets, or the
hmm
Muppets, I guess,
yeah.
because
They
they
got 'em.
don't terrify me in my sleep.
Again, never meet your heroes, man.
You know, I mean, I kind of have, and I don't know. I guess they became my heroes after I met them. Maybe that's why.
Yeah.
But you know, I've met a couple famous comedians, and it's been interesting. Like I got to hang out with Dom Herrera for an entire weekend. Which,
Oh yeah.
if you're if you're a comedy fan, you know who Dom Herrera
Yeah,
is.
for
You know
sure.
that guy's a fucking legend within the
Yeah.
comedy world. But like to regular people, like I told my mom, I was like, "Mom, I'm opening for Dom Herrera," and she's like, "That's great. Is that who is that? Why should I?"
It's pronounced Deloise, honey.
Is it Tom DeLuise? That one. It's like, fuck, yeah, Ma, I'm opening for Dom DeLuise. It's just fuck, But it's like I got to hang out with that guy, and he's just an old cut up. The way that you
That's
show
awesome. Yeah.
respect is you cut into him.
Yeah.
That's what he does, and like
Yep.
there's a couple moments where he gets real, and then it's back to cutting up for the
Yep.
next 2
That's
hours.
awesome.
And it was really cool to meet. Like I got to meet Dave Coulier, who's a very down to earth person, and like a phenomenal storyteller. This is my biggest regret, Jesse, is I didn't ask Dave Coulier whether that song Alanis Morissette wrote was about him.
Oh, really?
This is my biggest regret in life.
I was right there.
I can accept everything I've done, but I missed out on this very important key opportunity.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, man. It's yeah, it's hard. You know, like I try not to, because if you just get bogged down and overly principled, you know, then it's like what do you can't enjoy anything.
Yeah. Yep.
Like you have to kind of build, you have to act in a way, you know, that's representative of the world you want to live in, I guess, which is
Mhm.
a convoluted way of, I don't even know if that makes any sense.
I think it
Uh,
does.
yeah, okay, but you know, but you can't just expect it to change overnight. Like
Yeah.
this shit has to change from within. You know, like it takes a long time to build a different society.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
but people expect that stuff to happen. You know, like that. But and it's this thing of, it's like, oh, you have a gym membership and you say you're socialist. It's like, what?
I know that's my favorite. Just like if you have X, whatever, nice thing or part of society that you take part in, it's just like unless you are living out in the woods in a shanty, and living off of solar power, then you aren't allowed to have an opinion against capitalism. But if you
Right.
are, then you're a crackpot woods guy, and no one's going to listen to you. So what's the fucking? That's a trap. Like Jesus.
Exactly. There's no
Damned if you
winning
do,
because
you
you
damned
just,
if you don't, Chris. What do
yeah,
they
like
want from me?
I mean, so the only thing you can do is just like work to build from within,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
That's
Just like, well, I mentioned to you earlier that I sprung some of my stuff on an open mic crowd,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I've kind of had like just a disclaimer at the beginning. I'll say like I'm not advocating for any politician or political party. I just want you to know that you deserve better, and there's no reason you shouldn't have it. And no one disagrees with that, so we're off to a great start.
When you can talk to somebody, and this is always what I've found is when you talk to somebody outside of, you know, identity,
Mhm.
and you just talk to them in terms of ideology or philosophy or, you know, a way of life kind of thing, you find out that, you know, most people have like 80% of things in common,
Yeah.
and then all of these other devices we've
Hmm.
created have are just there to kind of split us up and put us in different
Yeah.
camps and different
Yep.
groups. And
Yep.
but people haven't kind of seen that separation.
Yeah.
You know what
If
I
there was
mean?
some like breakdown, some like, okay, imagine if you will, a match.com, but for just people to like get together about politics. And it's like, okay, comrade, and okay, you checked 8 out of these 10 boxes with someone else. So you guys are cool to politically fuck, like go hang out and talk about, revolution. Or, I mean,
Or whatever.
yeah. And if there's
Yeah.
3 of those things you don't get along with, guess what? You still have enough in common to work towards a common goal together that will benefit you and your community. So fucking good for you. Like, yeah. And again, Twitter seems to be a great place for us to find that and then whittle it down and down and down and down until we're like, fuck you, person that I really got along with a year ago. It's so sad to people like that. I was super like, I just had this giant group of friends, mutuals, and we were like, yay, Bernie's gonna go again, and we might fucking do it this time. We got a big grassroots movement. And then all of a sudden
Mm.
we just get like picked apart, and people just start fighting over whatever because there's no one left easy to fight. It's just us, just chewing each other apart. Yeah.
But that goes into, I feel like I had this bit that I'm trying to like bring back, but the whole point of it was we have we've run out of things to be afraid of.
Hmm.
Like we are literally the top of the food chain. We don't have any
Yeah.
predators. You
Yep.
know, like every so often somebody slips and a hippo eats them,
Mhm.
right? Like that happens, or like, you know, somebody is in
More
Florida
than
and they
you'd
get eaten
think.
by a gator.
Mhm.
More than you would think, but it's
Mhm.
on a statistical scale, it's a
Yeah.
minuscule amount, right?
Yep.
But like, but the hippo isn't trying to hunt us down,
Mhm.
you know? Like I don't have to worry about a panther trying to kill me
Yeah,
in
for
Pittsburgh.
sure. Well, no, but
So
in Florida,
in Florida, well, it's also Florida, so
it is. You
it's
know,
I'm
quick
fine with
sidebar.
separating like
I
states.
was walking on a trail in the Everglades and I came across a couple having sex off of the trail. And they were literally 3 feet away from a danger alligators in the area sign. Like, I guess if you're a danger thrill seeker, if that's what gets you off,
Yeah,
then that's a
I mean,
pristine spot. But
yeah.
my ex and I, we stumbled across it and we just turned around and walked back down the boardwalk. And my one regret is I didn't go gator. Yes, I should have. But
But then that guy thinks you said getter and goes, "I am."
or maybe the threat of the alligator was exactly what they both needed. That was just the
But see,
like
okay,
push them over the
that's
edge.
fine though, because I feel like, you know, they
Is
were
it?
asking for
Is it?
no, them getting eaten by the gator, them getting eaten by the grater, them getting eaten by the gator is to me, I'm like, I'm okay with that because I feel like
It's for
that's
the gator good.
yeah, what are you gonna do, man?
I
That's
still got it.
fucking that's a free snack. You're gonna tell me you're not gonna take some free snacks? Come on, like I let's be honest. It's like whenever you see the bowl of candy outside the house on Halloween, and they're like, "Please take one, honor system."
Mm, honor
You're not gonna
system.
take one.
Capital H or lowercase h? I mean, how flexible are we? Because there's
You,
honor
you
and there's
know,
honor. You know.
but it's like, oh, I picked one up, but there's a second one attached to it. I guess I'll put that
Odds
in.
are in
You know,
today's society, if you take two, you're still being more honorable than most people. So there's a good chance that she's still like on the lighter side of the gradient. I don't know. That's the justification I would give myself.
yeah, right, exactly. So it's like I can't blame the gate. That's just free snacks. That's candy on the porch, man.
Yep.
That's all that is.
Yep.
You
Exactly.
know, I can't. But that's the thing is like okay, so the gator's like not hunting us down, and
No.
I think we've run out of shit to be scared of, so we started inventing things, so we're scared of ourselves, right? So it's like oh, this person has darker skin, or they have hair in
Yeah.
places that that we don't have hair. Oh my goodness. And then it just got stupider and
Yep.
stupider. It
Yep.
was like, oh, this person doesn't pray to the same fucking sky grandpa as me. Oh no, I guess we should be mad at each other about this. Maybe we'll kill each other over it. It's like, what the fuck? What is happening? And then it just keeps getting dumber. And it's like, oh no, this person doesn't like the political talking head that I do. And it's
Hmm.
like it's just gonna keep devolving
Yeah.
until it's like, this person peels bananas differently than me. Crusades, like
And that's how we got the Banana Crusades of
and that's
thirteen
how we got the
fourteen.
banana. Yeah, 2024. I'm calling it right now. Banana
Hmm.
Crusades. That's where we're headed, Jesse. We're gonna
Oh
have
my God, I need to sample that clip. Remember Kamala Harris saying, "In the past we fought wars over oil. In the future we will fight them over water." And I want to crudely dub in bananas. In the future we'll fight them over bananas.
and it's just me insanely ranting about how bananas are gonna be the destruction of all mankind. Just
Can we?
insane
Okay,
going
you
off.
know what? Can we take this little idea and really let this snowball? Like, let's make a War of the World style like radio broadcast horror dramedy where all of a sudden there becomes this banana shortage. Bananas are the most eaten fruit in the world. Okay, it's a great place to start.
Is that true? Is that a true fact? Are they the
Yeah.
most?
Yep.
I do not. I'm
Yeah.
not a big banana.
You know what? Another fun fact is, the DNA strands of bananas are disturbingly similar to ours. There's like a really high percentage. So what if we do it where like there's some mutation and all of a sudden some banana plantation somewhere all of a sudden there's like feral banana people that sprout, and then shit gets weird. So we got ideas. We're already brainstorming
Yeah,
a lot.
we definitely need to be a lot more stoned to develop this idea.
I'm okay with that. We can
I'm
make that
fine. I'm
happen.
fine with that
Yeah.
too. It's
Yep.
not a
I'm
problem.
taking notes. Sorry.
I'm just
Very stone.
you.
Okay.
We're also
Check.
recording this, so
Yep.
it's down twice for posterity now,
We're archiving this.
just in case something happens to the recording. If the NSA catches hold and they're like, they're taking down the countries with bananas.
Or maybe I stumbled onto something I shouldn't have seen with the Everglades sex people. Maybe they were part of some like cult of druids in the Everglades,
Oh
and that was
shit.
part of some like offering to the alligators, and I saw too much.
Do you feel like they were boning because that's part of the ritual, or do you feel like they were boning because, like, well, we're gonna get sacrificed to
The
an
thrill
alligator?
of the sacrifice. I mean, that would get you pretty riled up,
If that was like your last moment, yeah.
Yeah. The gators
Yeah.
are coming anyway. I mean,
Just like you might
you want
as
to
well
just lay
get
here, like,
yeah,
yeah, or do you want to get jostled? Like,
let's
we got
walk
options.
let's get one in before we before we're dead.
Oh man.
Knowing
Yep.
my luck though, knowing my
We're
luck,
onto
she would
something big here. This is gonna get taken down like your Kashmir episode. Zoop. Stay in your lane, Mohane.
So we got the NSA, we got the druids. The druids are coming after us now. Who else needs to
Oh god.
who else can we piss off to the point where we might, because look, I'm not at this point, it's just like I know the NSA is probably listening. So it's like I'm just gonna say whatever, and you guys are just gonna have to fucking deal with it.
At this point, I would almost be upset if we weren't like, if they weren't like, listen to my album. Please
Yeah.
listen to my records. I hope you at least enjoy them.
If
I
you
love it. Like,
get
discreetly
one,
DM me what was your favorite song on War Crime Jams to Pork to. I won't screenshot it. I swear to God. I just want to know, just for my own benefit.
how do fucking cubicle jockeys at the NSA deal with your album? It's what I'm really curious about. It's because there's like one or two that
Yeah.
like
I really hope it wasn't just some poor unpaid dude who's like, all right, I got to listen to this, and he gets like 30 seconds into track one, he's like, oh Jesus Christ, this is gonna be a long hour and a half. Marty, you gotta come listen to this shit.
we're gonna need more people on this one. I feel like
Like
there's
the
subtext.
the comment that I used as my header on Twitter is someone saying, it literally sounds like he's crying at the end. What the hell am I listening to? It's my favorite thing ever.
And it's like, yeah, he probably is.
I was. Fun fact, I was. But oh, it's so good.
What are you gonna do about it?
So yeah, I just replaced their profile with a clown, and I put it as my header.
I do have to ask you because you bring up the one Kamala Harris reference a couple times in the album. It's the Kamala's got Kamala's shoes. It's I feel like it's different shoes every time, or that's what I pictured.
I did the Timbs,
Yeah.
and I think some sneakers, and yeah.
What? Did they? Is that real? That happened? Like, did I miss that?
Oh no, well, remember there was a big fuss about one of the first times that she got off of the plane, and she had like some Timbs on, and then there was another time she was in like heels, and they always do the slow walking pictures of them, and she's always got heels, and the comments are just liberals losing their minds over her shoes, and like that's just become a big thing, enough so that there are several pieces now that you mentioned about it. I think probably 3 that Because I know
I
in the Julian Assange one, I talk about it, and then in
yeah,
Bomb Squad, talk about it getting its own security detail.
yeah. I liked it because I do feel like there is a like a subtle concept around the whole album. Uh, you know, like it's got this subtle like techno apocalypse
Yeah,
theme.
yeah, like, well, I tried to do sci-fi. I wanted to like, okay, if I'm going spoken word, maybe it's gonna be too much. We're just talking about the same shit that we're dealing with every day right now, you know?
Right.
And I was like, maybe I'll try to go sci-fi. And it's like, no matter how far I tried to go into the future with it, none of it seemed like it wasn't plausible or right around the corner, you know? And especially once I was like, okay, talking about like fucking Boston Dynamics, robot dogs, and all that shit. And what's crazy is how many things that hadn't really materialized at the time to the extent that they have now. And that, like, I wrote a lot of these pieces, you know, over the last few months. And in the last week or two, there were a couple things that was like, oh yeah, that happened. Oh shit, that's right around the corner. You know, all of a sudden, like it's materializing a lot quicker than I thought it would. Um, but yeah, so I wanted to just once I mentioned I think it was Hyacinth was the first one that I had used the word hyacinth in Bomb Squad, and
Yes.
then I actually had the idea of like, okay, what if I try to go sci-fi with it, and what if the plant is watching you or listening to you or whatever? And so then I did that with 5 different flowers throughout Coming of Spring, and that's what the cover has are those different flowers.
What are
Uh,
the 5? Because I
there's
counted a few times.
hyacinth,
Yeah.
obviously, geranium,
Yeah, I got those
um,
too.
night blooming jasmine, which
Okay.
I don't remember which one that gets mentioned in, uh, nasturtium, and valerian.
Valerian is the other. Yeah.
Yep. And
Yeah.
valerian, I really kind of exaggerated, but you know, that's used as like not really a sedative, but more of one of those, you know, promotes
It's
calming and
sleeping.
relaxation, like St. John's wort, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, it's a sleep aid.
But I kind of used it a bit more as like kind of a overall, you know, something to just kind of tone you down and make you obedient. Um, and so
Yeah.
there it mentions it like valerian in the drinking water and stuff like that. And so yeah, I really once I did that, I was like, I haven't really done like a full on like concept thing before, and like I wanted to try to make it a bit more interesting because I didn't want to have background noise or ambient music or anything. And the more I listen to other people's spoken word, there usually is, and sometimes there's just straight up music with it. And I feel like my music itself is more close to spoken word over music than like rap half the time, you know. um so I didn't want to have anything go with it because I felt like it detracted from what I'm talking about, that it
Yeah.
made it a little less, if not serious, less urgent. Like I said a couple times, I wanted it to feel like this is a tape you could have found or a message someone slipped to you through the fence, you know, that kind of like this is a dispatch, this is an urgent, you know, SOS kind of feel to it. Um, so yeah, I didn't worry about trying to like take out. In fact, there's one moment where I have what I've always called the RTS, the random throat sound. You know, when you open your mouth and all of a sudden there's just this weird drainage kind of noise
Yeah.
that your throat makes. That got captured on the first line of the song "Open Heart" or the piece "Open Heart" on Coming of Spring, and it's literally, it starts, it says, I took my heart out, put it in the trash, and my throat goes, and I remember hearing that. I was like, fuck, I cannot mess up the rest of this piece. This has to be the take. This has to be the one. And I got through it and I was like, that's the keeper. We got it. So, yes, listen for that in the very beginning of Open Heart because that's my random throat sound in full effect.
But that's why I feel like I also really like when those kinds of things get captured. You
Mhm.
know, like that's what makes I
Same.
always
I
I
love
always
that.
really enjoyed like whenever they would have like you could hear them talking about the song before they recorded it on the
Yes. Yep.
album,
Hmm.
and then they get into the song and they mess up a little bit and they're like, "Ah, we're gonna," and like
Yep.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's just fun
Same. I
to
love
kind of hear that
anything
kind of
that
stuff.
gives that little extra kind of, or I hate to use the word organic because it's so played out, but like Led Zeppelin stuff when they would record everything together in the studio and
Mhm.
you got to hear like the incessantly squeaking kick pedal
Right.
and like someone cough and just that little I love that, you know. There's an old Soulfly song that they had Sean Lennon play on with them, and there's like a breakdown, and they let some studio chatter in. You hear him say something about like, God, these strings are great, but my fingers fucking killing or something like that. You just hear some little chatter like that. It's awesome. Like I love that. So yeah, and
It
I'm
has
such a
that
sucker
human
for that
flavor
that
to it.
I think a lot of people would argue that you should probably polish your stuff up first to where it's obvious that you did it on purpose and you're not letting it in. But I was like, fuck, I'm not, who knows how long I'm going to live. Like, I don't have time for that. Like, if I wanted to have some little something left in, I left it in, you know, like you said, if it gives it character and again, reminds you that what you're listening to was made really raw in a car on a phone, you know, like I'm all for it. Like, I would waste so much time trying to hide those things and mask them that it'd be more time than I spent on the song itself. Like it's not worth it.
Yeah, and I think your time is what better spent on writing and creating than it is on. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
same thing as like I could sit there and polish my audio and make it sound
Hmm.
super crazy crisp and HD and
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's like I'd rather spend my time, you know, like talking to people that I want to talk to,
Yeah.
getting to learn their stuff, and learn something myself from that conversation and then take
Yeah.
that and create something cool out of it.
Yeah.
And hopefully it'll lead me to a point where I don't need to worry about any of this. I can just send that off to somebody and they can take care of it and
Hmm.
stitch it together and all that stuff. So like,
Yeah.
but my time and energy, like you said, I don't know how long I have left either, and I would like to, like, I have a whole different kind of perspective and mentality towards life and towards creating stuff now that I didn't before. And, like all this stuff and like all this positive stuff. It's like now I kind of want to enjoy that side of things. And
Yeah.
I don't have time to sit there and, spend 3 hours trying to fix an a throat sound. Like
Exactly.
it's
Yep.
in there. That's what it is.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
like, yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Uh, the other thing, the last thing you mentioned, is Assange. It's kind of a big topic.
Hmm.
Uh, it was what was your expectation after because I talked to Kevin Gostola, I've talked to a couple people about it. What was your expectation after the trial, or after I guess the appeal trial that they went through? Did you feel like because you know their defense was so absurd?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, I know we all wanted a different outcome. I don't think any of us were like sure it was going to happen by any means. Um,
Yeah,
eh, I'm not surprised now that they're trying to change the rules so that they can't fight back. Um, I I wasn't one of the people that was super excited to see the outpouring suddenly from a lot of people who had been silent before because I felt like they were waiting until it was a safe time to say something and not a time when they really could have done something.
hmm,
And it's hard not to be resentful of that because obviously
of
they
course.
knew, you know. And if you wait until the day of to all of a sudden be like, "Hey, Julian Assange is being mistreated, guys," like, good for you, great, go fuck, you know. Like, I just maybe a couple of years ago I would have been like, "Hey, they're finally standing up," but that part of me's dead now. It just doesn't work like that anymore.
No, I'm always glad when people kind of join in on the movement,
Mhm.
but
If
are they
anything,
going to
yeah, now
consistently stay?
they've said that, and like if they don't step up now, we've got like, okay, well, what the fuck was this just a one time thing, you
Was
know?
that just for yeah, was that a PR move
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
thing? Yeah. Yeah, that's are they gonna consistently keep supporting
But
him
it was nice to
is
see.
the
Like, I
question.
don't feel like people lost heart. Like, people are like, we just got to fight harder, you know. And
Yeah,
I think Assange activists are used to getting beaten down. They haven't had much in the way of wins, so you know,
this is true. Yeah, I was still upset. It
yeah.
was still shitty news to wake up
Oh,
to.
for sure.
But, it was also one of those things of like, all right, well,
Yeah.
on to the next
Exactly.
thing, you know.
And I
So
remember being really bummed out at work, and a couple people asking like, "You all right? You're not like dancing and chipper and dirk dirk." And I was like, I don't have time to explain because I'm going to mention Julian Assange. You'd be like, who? What?
right, right.
Yeah, and like, yeah, maybe, yeah. Thank you though.
Yeah,
Like,
thank you for checking in.
I'll
That's
be
very
normal
sweet of
tomorrow.
you.
I swear.
Yeah.
Oh,
Jesse, it's always a good time to chat
dude,
with you.
yeah, seriously, it's been so
Uh,
much fun.
I where can people find out your album and then we can play us out.
Yeah. Um, the album is on Bandcamp, as well as Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, and I think Amazon even, unfortunately. Um, but what's funny is that's the one that took the longest to get approved. Like it sat for a few weeks for it to get like scanned through all their other stuff, and they still gave it the green light. So somehow everything is still up. Nothing's been taken down or censored or whatever. So, um, but yeah,
That's
that's and then
jessejett.bandcamp.
Jesse Jet on Twitter, Jesse_Jet. But I mean, that's really the only social media I do. I can't bring myself to make a TikTok.
Just
Um,
the least you have, I feel like
just
the better it is. It's just like now
yeah,
I have a bunch of them, and I'm like, oh, like
yeah, exactly. It's like I'd found my group and my niche on Twitter,
yeah,
and they're hanging on by a thread, and I don't want to abandon them. We need each other, I think. The Last of
yeah,
Us left, like Lord of the Flies, but we're
yeah.
we're still we're still kicking.
Right on. Awesome, man. Yeah, and then I'll go silent and let you play us out.
All right, let's should we do a song or should we do a spoken word piece? It's up to you.
You could do one of each.
Ooh, sold. All right, it's the holidays and I got my sweater on, so we're gonna do it. Which shout out to Every Time I Die, one of my favorite metal bands,
Oh, my buddy
and
Jason loves them.
Keith Buckley, their singer, like one of the best lyricists I've ever heard. His stuff's just phenomenal. Um,
You're the second person that's recommended this band to me, so I'm definitely gonna have to check them out now.
they were uh, they were in Grand Rapids not too long ago, and I wanted to go, but it's like we were just getting right into the thick of our new wave. Oh my god, my wife works at the hospital, so I have a good idea of how bad things are around here, and it was bad enough that I was like, I can't justify it. I've missed
Yeah,
seeing them several times too, and I hate myself for it, but
it's
it's
at a certain point it becomes like they'll be back.
I'm overweight. My lungs are full of resin. I got wicked high blood pressure. I'm a ticking time bomb, Chris. It wouldn't go well for me.
Yeah, safety first. The bands will return.
Here's hoping. All right. So I'll dedicate this one to Sharif Snuggs, who was one of the founders of the March for Medicare for All movement and a really tireless healthcare advocate. Because I noticed like consistent plays on this song, and then he mentioned one day how much he liked this track. And I was like, "Do you listen to it?" He was like, "Yeah, like a few times a week." And I was like, "That's you. You're my guy that's been blowing up this song. I love you." So now if I play it, I gotta throw it up for Sharif. This is "Ugly Fucking Christmas" off of Inauguration Gift. Oh, I forgot you were muted. I was just wondering, like, I wonder if Chris stepped away, but you're still there. One silent auction is another's trial. A system designed to see you suicidal. And funny, we don't hear a peep out of Kendrick Bay or Jay-Z. We just see a lot of silent idols with their heads up their asses like the fascists made them hide somewhere parallel to Pilot Idol. Like they've let us off the lead, but you know that in your heart you will always taste the bridle. Now I am not JPEG Mafia or honorary PNG Yakuza. Label owns your masters and your masters want their profits up. So they've said you can't diss Biden, you have to stay silent. So shut your fucking mouth and watch me cough it up. I'll kill it, then I'll bury it, I'll piss right on the grave. Shit, I'll maybe dig the coffin up. They want you and me softened up. That's why they tried crying unity. Preach it to my face and watch me catch a case faster than we should have ended qualified immunity. You can hide from the truth, but I'll pull you out and school you, honey. You can call it truancy. Ash as far as you can see, out across the ruins. Let it sink in, let it ruin all your dopamine. See, I take my hay as a wider shade of aubergine. My words are just a go-between for all this fucking acid and out-of-date famotidine. I say my piece, drop the mic, bleed out all my chromosomes and blow the scene. And I will not be coming back, so love us or leave us or mislead us to Iraq. I'm violence over science if your faith over facts. We're all up for auction, honey, we cannot relax. See, we coronated Biden and I didn't cut a track. I just stared into the ether, hearing everyone react. Hearing that collective sigh of liberal satisfaction, cause you all went fucking batshit for some bigot geriatric who magically regains his faculties to slap your daughter's ass, and even though she's 8, you let it happen. Just like all these fucking garbage politicians serve their kids up on a platter during photo ops designed to let them leech a little power and significance directly out the head slave master, the author of imprisonment, who partnered with the sentencer of innocence, telling you they're here to heal the soul of old America. Clearly that's just code for we are here to watch you starve and serve our bigot benefactors. Now cue the can, Kamala laughter, comma distractor, comma less schools, more jails, more fracking, more wars, comma blood dollars, comma Kamala laughing. Fuck it, honey, more reactors. Biden said build back better, but the man learned better from the likes of those who stood for Jim Crow by the letter. So you cannot convince me that a man who spent a lifetime swallowing the sermons of a guy like Strom Thurmond ends up anything but Kissinger with Mr. Rogers' sweater. So I'm out the party, and I won't be coming back. Let them love us or leave us or mislead us to Iraq. Let Kamala deceive us with some sneakers and a laugh. They will not address the other half. If they acknowledge our predicament, they have to say why they dismissed us. And nobody in Congress has the guts to look the nation in the face and explain how they let us waste away to afford all the comforts they need to maintain all their opulence and stingy and humane existence. So it's gonna be an ugly fucking Christmas. And we will not be coming back. Let them love us or leave us or mislead us to Iraq. I'm violence over science if your faith over facts. We're all up for auction, honey, we cannot relax. Not be coming back. Oh, love us or leave us or mislead us to Iraq. I'm violence over science if your faith over facts. We're all up for auction, Biden, we will not relax.
Woo! You gotta get those woos in there. I feel like
All right.
I feel like Kamala's shoes are gonna be her fucking tan suit. Everybody's just gonna be like, "What kind of pumps you got, Kamala?" The one that's gonna start a war with Guatemala, I think. she's put those on.
These boots were made for war crimes. That's just what they'll do.
Does that?
Right.
I feel like if you're gonna wear a particular type of shoes when you're declaring war on Guatemala, I mean, you know, if you're not gonna wear banana yellow boots, what are you doing? It's a missed opportunity.
High tops or low tops when applying sanctions? Like, do we?
Flats, heels, how do we feel?
uh, all right. So this is a piece from the Coming of Spring. One where actually I name drop 3 of the plants, and really ran with the idea of like you having something that you knew that it, was what's a good word for this? Allowing something into your home in the name of convenience, which we've already kind of done with nests and speakers and all kinds of shit. But just how quick we are to turn a blind eye to whatever it could do that we don't want to know about or think about. So this is Mark IV geranium. I guess I didn't think that there was more beneath the ice. I didn't think the great experiment was just me being nice. I never thought that I could shut my mouth and get the message out directly through the eyes. I didn't think the virus would still be here after all this time. Thought I'd hit my limit, but I never saw the line. And always think I'm finished, then I'm visited by half a dozen rhymes. Visited by half a dozen visions of a future Bezos has in mind. A future you can picture since you've lived it half your life. But now it's blooming brighter like a jasmine in the night, or more like a prototype of Amazon vine. You put it in some soil and pretend that it's alive, and let it see the sun so it can read the Wi-Fi, and Amazon promises it doesn't read your dreams or seep a toxin in the air that makes you sensitive to sunlight. So yeah, you may not ever get to see another sunrise, but you got a year's sub to Amazon Prime because it came with a free code. Sentient, even in its sleep mode, scanning faces, mapping clothes, keeping records of your speech and your habits on your phone, shaping all their ads to target you alone. And suddenly you look up from the glow of your device and it's just you alone, frozen in the ice beside the fossil of a megaphone, frozen next to faded signs like "We are all Assange" and "Send Mumia home." If Bezos had his way, we wouldn't need a home. We'd spend every day inside our cubicles, working every finger to the bone or up our cuticles, fed by only fear and our adrenochrome. Until one day you escape, but it's a little too late, because you won't recognize it when you see your home. Because you still look the same, but all your friends are in the senior home. Because Bezos lured you right into the cryo tank, telling you that you're the type of worker he would like to groom for CFO. And you don't know your name, but you know somewhere there's a bank where Jeff had told you that your pay would go. But it's right in the center of his hideous estate, past the Amazon drones and the Amazon tanks, who call in every Amazon robot dog in their ranks within range of their radios. And these are not the dogs that you have seen in those videos. These are dogs that no one else has seen and lived to document, and you'd do well to pray for those and pity those. Every little movement is unnatural and alien, and such a blatant mockery of canine form contorted into such a monstrous radiance, it chains you to a fear that is the oldest and the innermost. Hidden close to visions of a blaze that only took a half a day to sweep Arcadia and burn the forest down, allowing Jeff to break ground on the Prime Coliseum and the Amazon Stadium. Somewhere he can sit and watch us battle to the death to have a shot to fill an open spot and maybe make enough to pay for insulin and radium. Imagine all the rush of the palladium, but painted in the neon sword of gray of pure uranium. Safe to say if Elon had his way, we'd all be husks with just enough cerebral mush to push the buttons, but not enough to make it past the Tesla brand Mark IV geraniums, who tell the little microchip they slipped into your cranium to trickle out some lithium to level off your gradient. Maybe you'll think twice before you go try something brave again. Maybe you'll think twice and then the prior thought will fade again. Tesla training pamphlets all acknowledge there's a period where entry-level interns and associates may need a little breaking in. You can shut your eyes, but they're still breaking in. Down beneath the ice, the earth is caving in. Down the road, when Amazon knocks down your home, the house can't be found. It's just an Amazon casino wrapped around the fucking globe. And every hand they make you fold and tell you Bezos wins. Bezos makes the rivers red where NATO swims. Watch the UN fume again and draft a resolution to compose a strongly worded letter stating their admonishment, condemning the abuse of human rights, and then they all go back to watching with a paralyzed astonishment. frozen in the air like they're the painting of a parliament, locked in counter-arguments, quoting from the blackest stack of Amazon-approved redacted documents. Amazon's internal workings writhing like a toxic mass of moccasins. Amazon's job fair day where they lied about your pay and then they locked you in. Watched by all the jasmine and geraniums and hyacinth stalking you and mocking you while eyeing you with higher sense and booting up the drive that loads the protocol for violence. So here's to the day when the pylons go silent and miles of highways close in a blink like the weight on your eyelids. Here's to your secrets once nothing is private. And here's to the prototype Amazon Vine that, according to Alexa, is just minutes from arriving. And that is Mark IV Geranium.
Jesse Jett! My cat decided to
Man.
show up at the very last minute.
All right!
Let me see if you'll... You want to say hi?
Oh. Hi. Psst, 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 psst.
If you can hear it through the headphones, he totally would. All right,
it's so funny. There was a cat running through my backyard yesterday, and I opened up my window. I was like, "Kiki, kiki, and he was just like, "Fuck you!" And I go, pss, pss, pss. And he's like, "What? What? Did you come?" Literally came over. I gave him some food. He hung out for a while, then he went off and did his thing.
That is fantastic. Thank you so much, man. This was
yeah,
so
dude.
much
Thank
fun.
you. It's always a blast. Seriously, so
And
good
the
to see
album
you.
is fantastic. Super
Thank
fucking
you,
fun.
Seriously, thank you.
The subtle concept that throughout the whole thing, it's really well done. So
That means a lot, dude. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, man.
All right, yeah, absolutely.
Bam, folks, there it is. You got three performances from Jesse there. Three performances from Jesse. So at this point, I feel like every single one of you should be rushing off to get his, not just his new album, The Coming of Spring, but Inauguration Gift, The Geiger Age, all the stuff that he's put out over the last few years. So go to jessejett.bandcamp.com and grab those albums right now. And fun fact too, Jesse Jett composed the intro track to Road Reflections. So if you're a fan of the Road Reflections short videos or even the live streams, the intro music was composed by none other than Jesse Jett, and I'm very, very thankful for it. It's a very cool fucking intro music. So super thankful that that Jesse was able to make that beat. It's a super dope beat. I got a lot of compliments on that, and all the compliments should be directed immediately to Jesse Jett. I really enjoyed all his stuff. Like, The Geiger Age is a really, really fun album to listen to if you're a fan of political rap, if you're a fan of spoken word, or especially political spoken word. I think you'll really enjoy Inauguration Gift and The Coming of Spring. These are not going to be some of the stuff, and I've talked to Jesse about this before, is that he does talk about specific events in his music and in his spoken word pieces, and it's interesting because then it becomes a time capsule for that sort of stuff, right? So I think that's very interesting. So it's not going to be the same type of stuff that you might hear in any sort of mainstream music circles at all. So this is going to be lyrically and even musically a little bit different than what you might hear even on some less mainstream music sources. So if you're down for something cool and different, you should go listen to Jesse Jett's new album. Again, you can grab that over at jessejett.bandcamp.com. That's where the album is, and that's where all of Jesse's work is available. Go grab it. Go support independent musicians, local independent musicians. We need to support these folks a lot more. I think if you're gonna do anything in 2022, it would my thought would be that you should support your grassroots independent artists, whether they're local or not. People that don't have, connections to the record industry or Comedy Central or what have you. These are folks that are working on the ground. They're recording stuff themselves. They're independently producing things in their offices or whatever. Just kind of, I don't know, a little example of kind of things that independent artists do. But I think that's who need support this year. So if you can go to, and right now it's more of if you feel comfortable going to live events, if there is a venue that is taking things seriously and is implementing some precautions to ensure the public health safety measures that need to be put into place during a global pandemic, you know, they're pushing for masking. Their employees wear masks. They're talking about vaccination. And I'm not going to tell you to get vaccinated or not. But if you are vaccinated, then great. You don't have anything to worry about in terms of entering a venue. But if you're not vaccinated and you still want to go to see live entertainment, please be respectful of the wishes of the people that are vaccinated, because as much as it is your right to not get vaccinated, it's our right to feel healthy and comfortable in a establishment, venues, what have you, and enjoy our time there, right? So let's be respectful of each other's wishes. I'm not pushing to tell you to go get vaccinated. If your choice is not to go get vaccinated, that's cool, man. But if you're one of those I'm not getting vaccinated folks, be respectful of the people that are getting vaccinated. And if they're saying, "Hey, I know that you're not back. If you could put a mask on, or maybe we can social distance a little bit," please be respectful of those wishes. Let's not get into these arguments. This is a public health crisis, and with that comes, it's at this point, with how shoddy of a job the Western governments have done, any sort of capitalist government has done in trying to contain this pandemic. It's piss poor, it's shoddy. I don't think there's going to be another lockdown coming, because a lockdown without any sort of economic measures, we've talked about this ad nauseum here. A lockdown without any sort of economic measures put into place, meaning if you're gonna say, we're all gonna stay indoors for 6 weeks, and you don't have a financial plan to help out your citizens and small businesses that are going to be affected by this the most, by sending them like a weekly check or something, um, then it's going to fail. Then no one's going to be on board. It's going to create feelings of animosity, feelings of anxiety, feelings of concern, and push people into, well, this is not a real thing. If this was a real thing, they would offer, So I don't think there's going to be a lockdown, because I don't think this neoliberal government really cares about giving us any sort of social help. That's not their goal. That's not their prerogative. Their prerogative is, how do we capitalize on a global pandemic? How do we capitalize on a public health crisis? And they have, and we've seen the trajectory of how they have. So these larger power structures aren't really doing anything to help us. So we need to start helping each other, right? That's why any sort of grassroots local efforts that are being put into place, I'm all for, right? Particularly helping people be housed, helping people get fed, making sure that they can get their medication properly. If there are grassroots street level programs that we can get behind, then let's get behind them. Same thing with artists and venues, right? I think every single one of us don't want to lose that really cool venue in our neighborhoods. We don't want to lose that awesome place where we get to go see comedy and concerts and catch these really cool fucking shows. from some of our favorite bigger bands. Um, maybe even some local ones that you want to support. Well, great. Let's start doing that. But at the same time, let's start being respectful of each other's beliefs, even if those beliefs are fundamentally different than yours, right? And I mean, we're all human here. I even have my limits. Uh, I don't, the limit that I kind of draw is, okay, you have questions about vaccinations, or you have some health condition that prevents you from getting vaccinated, so on and so forth. There's a litany of reasons why people choose not to get vaccinated, just as there are a litany of reasons why people do choose to get vaccinated. I think the key here is being respectful. Okay, you don't want to get vaccinated. You're against even private businesses or small businesses saying, hey, we need to see a vax card or a negative test. Well, that's the venues, and especially if it's a venue that you like going to, or an establishment that you really like going to, well, be respectful of that. If you want to go see a show there, and it's your favorite artist, and you are a I'm not getting vaccinated person, well, go get the test. Wear a mask before, in the venue. And it's not because we're trying to be fascist. This is a public health crisis. So just be respectful. You can still go and enjoy the show with your favorite band, but don't you want your favorite band to feel comfortable and healthy and safe while they're performing and entertaining you? That's their right. Especially if you believe that healthcare is a human right, then why wouldn't you believe that that everybody has a right to feel healthy and safe in whatever environment that they're in? And at the same token, I don't think that yelling at people and implementing punitive measures on folks that don't get vaccinated is the right thing to do here in this particular circumstance. I think figuring out some kind of a compromise, and that compromise, and I'm not saying give up your belief system. I'm saying, again, it comes down to being respectful, right? If you're I'm not getting vaccinated person, and you're wanting to just wear a mask indoors, social distance, see who's comfortable with that sort of stuff, right? Same thing with if you are a vaccinated person and you have somebody that doesn't want to get vaccinated, maybe ask them why, have the conversation, figure it out. There's multiple reasons for why. I think the media narrative is that these people are right-wing conspiracy theory nuts and this, that, and the third, and that's not necessarily true. I have a bunch of people in my life that don't want to get vaccinated, and it has nothing to do with them thinking that it's genetic experimentation, eugenics, or what have yous. They have medical conditions that this vaccine is not particularly safe for, or they don't have enough information to know whether it's safe or not safe for these particular medical conditions, right? So let's take that into consideration. All that was all that was to say, my limit is the pandemic stuff. The folks that come out and say that this is a pandemic, I'm not gonna sit there and scream at you or whatever, but I kind of just tune out. That's my limit. That's the threshold. That's about as far as I can go with it. I'm cool with listening to the reasons why you don't want to get vaccinated and the skepticism around that. It's new, so on and so forth. I'm here to listen to all of that. But the second people go into this was a pandemic kind of narrative, I've lost friends to this. I've lost family to this. Like I also have friends that got COVID and now are struggling to even walk up 2 flights of steps. And these are folks that were, stage hands. They would work backstage. They would pull 11-hour shifts, setting up lighting rigs, and now they can't. Physically fit people that got COVID and then now can't walk up 2 flights of steps without being completely winded. That's why the pandemic thing is like, I know too many people whose lives have been ruined by this disease, And I personally believe that it is disrespectful to those folks and the 800 million people that are dead because of this disease in just America alone, or 800,000. I keep doing this. I keep shifting thousands and millions, but yeah, I've lost people to this. So, I think saying that this is a pandemic and how do I want to phrase this properly? Saying it's a pandemic and kind of downplaying this very real public health crisis is disrespectful to those folks. And that's why it's just, I'm not going to get mad at you and scream at you. I just feel like I don't have anything to contribute to that conversation, because there's nothing I can say and it's just so far off to that thing. So again, that's my border, that's my limit. But regardless of it, I'm gonna be respectful. Instead of screaming at that person, I'm gonna say, "Hey, man, I've lost people to this disease. I've seen this disease affect people negatively. I just don't have anything to contribute to this debate, so I'm gonna see myself out of it. I also don't believe that you're right, and don't feel like I want to listen to this anymore." And that's the end of the conversation. So just be respectful. Again, there's a lot of different options out there for what you want to do and how you want to do it. So I hope that people will just be respectful. 2022 is likely to be a tough year. It's likely to be as tough of a year as 2021. So the way we're going to get through it when power structures fail us is through grassroots efforts and just being good to each other on a street level. Right? On a ground floor level, we just need to be good to each other, understand each other's perspectives, listen to each other, and find a way to, mutually respect each other's boundaries and beliefs. So that's what I hope you guys do in 2022. Sorry, this got kind of rambly towards the end there, as these endings usually do. But we got virtual shows coming up. We got live streams coming up. You can sign up for my free email list. You can get my stand-up comedy albums. You can check out past episodes of my show. You can grab tickets to virtual shows all on my website at krishmohanhaha.com, KRISHMOHANHAHA.com. I hope some of you guys can come out to those virtual shows. They're super, super fun. One of them is a fundraiser. January 27th is a fundraiser for the Pittsburgh DSA. That's a pretty big, important one. So I hope you guys can make it to that one and help out a really good cause. But till then, we're going to be back with episodes on Thursdays. There will be some dispatches coming in the next few months as well. Really awesome interviews that I'm excited to share. So I hope you guys will subscribe. I hope you guys will share this out. And most importantly, be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and stay taboo. We'll see you soon.